Suddenly, a bright beam of light appears, obliterating the entire class. As the screen fades to black, a student named Kumoko awakens to find herself reincarnated as a spider hatchling. To her horror, she is surrounded by hundreds of other spiderlings, all hatching simultaneously. With no food available, the spiderlings resort to cannibalism, consuming their siblings to survive. Kumoko quickly grasps the peril she's in when she witnesses her mother devouring several newborn spiderlings. She promptly flees the hatching ground and uses all of her skill points to acquire the appraisal skill. However, she is disappointed to find that the skill is practically useless at level 1. Kumoko soon discovers her ability to create spider threads and uses this skill to construct a home. Unfortunately, this activity drains her energy, leaving her on the brink of starvation. Left with no other option, she consumes a deceased spider she had found earlier, earning her the title Kin Eater and 2 new skills, Taboo level 1 and Heretic Magic level 1. Kumoko's spider web successfully ensnares an Elro frog, a creature that spits poison. After a grueling battle, she manages to defeat the frog, albeit suffering multiple injuries. She then consumes her prey. Meanwhile, a school welcoming ceremony reveals that Yamada Shunsuke and Ushima Kaneda have been reincarnated as Shlain Shun Zagan Analyte and Carnatia Kachia Anabald, respectively. Shun is now a prince and Kachia is a duke's daughter. Both are hailed as prodigies in their kingdom. Their teacher, Opazaki Kanami, has been reincarnated as an elf named Philomos Herafinas. The trio meets with Shun's sister, Sulisha Su Analyte, and 2 other reincarnations, Natsun Kengo, now Hugo Baint von Rengzan, and Hazeby Yuka, now Yuri Ulin. It is then revealed that Shun's familiar is another reincarnation, Shinohara Mare, who is now a lizard-like monster called Ferun. Philomos discloses that she is currently looking after 11 other reincarnations, but there are still others who are unaccounted for. We are shown a flashback to the students of class 2 to 3 in their previous lives. Yamada Shunsuke and Ushima Kaneda were friends, while Wakaba Hero was the victim of bullying by Shinohara Mare. This glimpse into their past lives sets the stage for the complex dynamics and relationships that will unfold in their new incarnations. In the present, Hugo reincarnated as the crown prince of the Rengzan Empire, and Shun are engaged in a conversation before class starts. It is revealed that Shun's older brother is none other than Julius the Hero, a figure of strength and valor whom Shun greatly admires and aspires to emulate. However, Hugo, fueled by ambition and pride, boldly declares that he will surpass them all and become the strongest human. Meanwhile, Shun's familiar, Faye formerly Murray, is grappling with guilt and regret. She wonders if her reincarnation as a non-human is a form of punishment for her past misdeeds, specifically her bullying of Wakaba. When she asks Philomos Ms. Oka about Wakaba's whereabouts, Philomos evades the question, stating only that Wakaba is still unaccounted for. The scene then shifts to the labyrinth, where Kumoko is engaged in a life and death battle with another Elro frog. Her victory brings her enough experience to level up, healing all her wounds and enhancing some of her skills. Poison Fang LV1 greater than LV2, Poison Resistance LV2 greater than LV3, Spider Thread LV3 greater than LV4. Kumoko's life takes a dramatic turn when she encounters a man ensnared in her web. In his panic, the man throws a potion that ignites her web and drops a large egg he was carrying. Despite her best efforts, Kumoko can't crack the eggshell, but in the process, she manages to level up her skill appraisal LV1 greater than LV2. With this upgraded skill, she identifies the egg as an earthworm egg. Realizing she's not strong enough to break it, she stashes the egg away in her home. Suddenly, her peaceful existence is shattered when her home comes under attack. The man from earlier has returned with reinforcements intent on burning down Kumoko's house and reclaiming the egg. Witnessing her home being destroyed, Kumoko makes a resolute decision to become stronger so she can live with pride and never have to run away again. She throws herself into battle after battle, facing off against various monsters including the formidable Elro Baladorado. Against all odds, she defeats the much stronger creature, allowing her to level up to 10 and evolve. After weighing her options, she chooses to evolve into a small Terratect and passes out from exhaustion. In the after-credits scene, Shun shows Faye a book about the evolution of dragons at the Analyte Royal Academy. This is a thrilling ride showcasing Kumoko's determination, resilience, and growth. It sets the stage for more exciting adventures and challenges to come in her journey to survive and thrive in this new world. Kumoko wakes up from her evolution into a small Terratect. She finds her stamina SP dangerously low, but luckily, she still has the carcass of an Elro Baladorado nearby. She devours it to regain her SP and then decides to acquire 2 new skills, Thread Control and Detection. Thread Control allows her to manipulate her webs more precisely, while Detection enables her to sense her enemies before they do. However, she soon realizes that she can't use Detection because it gives her a headache. While searching for prey to level up, Kumoko stumbles upon a group of humans who are all level 20+. The humans immediately give chase, forcing Kumoko to flee. In her escape, she encounters numerous monsters, which she narrowly evades, leaving the humans to deal with them. Unfortunately, Komoko then stumbles into a pit, falling deeper into the labyrinth. Back in the kingdom of Annihilate, Yuri informs the class that they are having a practical magic exercise in the western woods of the academy. Yuri, now a devout follower of the Word of God religion, preaches the teachings to Shun during their conversation. During a practical magic exercise, the class is taught water magic. Hugo gets competitive with Shun, trying to prove that he is a better magic user. This leads to Hugo using fire magic even though the practical class is focused on water magic. Shun thinks Hugo went too far and uses his water magic to cancel out Hugo's fire. Suddenly, the class is attacked by an earthworm. Oriza-sensei tries to stop the worm's attack but is killed instead. Hugo tries to show off his fire magic but fails to deal any damage to the dragon because of the earthworm's imperial scales and gets injured after getting hit by the worm's tail. Shun, Yuri, and Sue manage to combine their water magic to deal a blow to the worm. Shun then uses mental warfare and magic warfare to temporarily boost his capabilities and block the earthworm's breath attack. Hugo then goes on a crazed streak, shooting fireballs randomly at both the worm and his allies, forcing Shun to incapacitate Hugo with water magic. Fee, sensing the danger, jumps into the worm, biting its neck and destroying some of its scales, allowing Shun to cleanly behead the worm. In a shocking revelation, Fee gains the title Kin Eater, implying that the earthworm was one of Fee's parents, shocking Sue, Yuri, and Katya. Shun is affected the most by the revelation and falls onto his knees. In the after-credits scene, Kumoko is shown being attacked by Finjacoats as she falls down the pit. At the bottom, she encounters 3 Elro Balladerados, leaving her no choice but to hide. Komoko then comes face to face with Earth Dragon Araba. Earth Dragon Araba makes quick work of the Finjacoats and Elro Balladerados, showing unimaginable power. Sensing that her life is in danger, Kumo tries to crawl away from the battle, but she quickly stops in her track as Araba locks onto her next. The story is a thrilling blend of action, suspense, and revelations, setting the stage for more exciting adventures to come. Later, we are shown the formidable Earth Dragon Araba deciding to ignore Komoko, leaving her to navigate the perils of the lower stratum on her own. In this dangerous environment, where even the monsters from the upper stratum are considered weak, Komoko relies on her stealth skill to stay out of harm's way. She encounters numerous powerful monsters, including the Elro Greshigard, High Finjacoat, and Greater Terratect. Desperate for sustenance, Komoko decides to consume one of the numerous Elro Gastrucks on the wall. However, she immediately regrets her decision as the Gastruch not only tastes terrible, but also inflicts rot damage. As a result, Komoko levels up her skill to Rot Resistance LV3. She decides that she will only eat the Gastruch in the worst-case scenario. Fortunately, she finds some high-level Elro Randonels for food. By defeating the Randonels, she acquires 2 new skills, Poison Magic and Poison Synthesis. While she cannot use Poison Magic yet, Poison Synthesis allows her to create a blob of weak poison, consuming MP in the process. After successfully evading a horde of Bagragratch, Komoko is attacked by an Anagratch, forcing her to kill it. Right before the Anagratch dies, it lets out an ominous scream. Komoko eats the entire Anagratch, then proceeds to build a nest-like shelter, high on the side of the wall using rocks as the base. Waking up in the middle of her sleep, she realizes that she is surrounded by countless Anagratch. Komoko deduces that she has been marked by the Anagratch that she killed earlier, and now its entire horde is out for vengeance. With nowhere to run, Komoko is cornered inside her nest. She decides to build nets of soap below her nest to stop the Anagratch from climbing up, all the while getting bombarded by rocks. The Anagratch try to counter the nets by climbing along the sides, but Komoko decides to trap them under new nets anyway. Komoko uses her Poison Synthesis to drop poison directly on top of the Anagratch trying to climb up the wall, making them fall off. With countless Anagratch getting stuck on the webs covering the walls and poison dropping from above, there is seemingly no way for the Anagratch to get close. However, the Anagratch use their own stuck allies as ladders to traverse the webs, and some manage to get inside the nest. Komoko reacts in time and bound the Anagratch with her threads. She decides to use these Anagratch bodies as a barrier for her nest. Sensing her intention, the Anagratch within the nest roll off and drop to their death. They would rather die than get in the way of their comrades. As the fight drags on, Komoko suffers multiple injuries, including getting one of her legs torn off, only to be completely healed by leveling up. She then covers all of the Anagratch climbing the wall with threads and triggers a rock slide, killing most of the Anagratch on the wall. The battle isn't over yet as 3 Bagragratch appear. With their superior physical prowess compared to Anagratch, the Bagragratch cause a great deal of damage to Komoko. Only after being tied up by spider thread and having poison poured down their throats do 2 of the 3 Bagragratch finally die. While fighting the last Bagragratch, Komoko gets half of her body along with 4 legs bitten off. On the edge of consciousness, Komoko manages to kill the Bagragratch and levels up to receive the full healing, saving her life. In the after-credits scene, Komoko finds a path to the middle stratum, discovering that it is filled with lava. This series makes sure we get a thrilling blend of action, suspense, and revelations, setting the stage for more exciting adventures to come. Komoko steps into the middle stratum of the Great Elro Labyrinth, where she is immediately confronted by an Elro Gunarish, a seahorse-like worm that spews fireballs while swimming in magma. Komoko quickly realizes that her webs, which are highly susceptible to fire, are useless in this environment. The heat of the middle stratum alone is enough to incinerate them. Frustrated and outmatched, Komoko retreats to the lower stratum, where she sets up a new home and evolves into a small poison Terratect. After her evolution, Komoko explores the skills she can purchase with her skill points and decides to acquire Pride for 100 skill points. This decision awards her a ruler title, which comes with 2 new skills, Abyss Magic LV10 and Haze. However, since she can't use magic, she tries Haze, which appears to do nothing. Her acquisition of Pride also causes her Taboo skill to increase by 2 levels. The scene then shifts from Komoko to Schlain and Firun. Fi discusses her evolution, while Schlain uses appraisal to examine her stats. As they head to class, they reflect on the oddity of their situation, attending school in a fantasy world. During class, Yuri, a devout follower of the Word of God religion, has a conversation with Schlain about the Taboo skill. She insists that anyone found to possess this skill should be reported to the Word of God Church for execution. Schlain is taken aback by her violent proclamation, and Faye remains silent, aware that she possesses the Taboo skill due to her Kin Eater title. The narrative returns to Komoko, who is attempting to figure out how to use magic from her available skills. She also discusses her training in fire resistance, which she hopes will allow her to traverse the middle stratum. However, her plans are interrupted when she is ambushed by the Earth Dragon Kagma. Forced to flee into the middle stratum before she is fully prepared, Komoko finds herself battling the Gunarish. She discovers that the creature is not as formidable as it seems. It exhausts all its MP and leaves the safety of the magma to physically attack Komoko, who easily evades its slow movements. After teasing the creature, Komoko kills it. Her journey deeper into the middle stratum leads to an ambush by 2 Elro Gunisivans. Komoko employs a variety of strategies, including enhancing her thread with poison and fire resistance. She eventually defeats one of the creatures by lobbing her deadly spider venom into its mouth. When it dies, the other one retreats. Feeling a bit safe, she decides to feast on the catfish-like monster and is overjoyed to discover that it tastes good. It ends with her singing about hunting the Gunsivans to extinction for tasty food. In the kingdom of Annihilate, Faye evolves to get stronger and extend her lifespan. Also reveals that Komoko is forced to traverse into the middle stratum by Earth Dragon Kagna. She defeats her first worm, an Elro Gunarish, and discovers that Elro Gunsivan meat tastes delicious, vowing to hunt them to extinction. Our spider heroine Komoko defeats another lava-loving monster, which provides her with enough experience points to evolve into a Zoella. This transformation not only gives Komoko a new combat-ready look, but also bestows upon her 2 fascinating skills, Patience and Parallel Will. Patience is a survival skill that allows Komoko to convert MP to HP when the latter is low. It also comes with Heresy Nullification, which enables her to use the powerful skill of detection without suffering from headaches, a side effect she experienced previously. This new skill allows her to perceive the world in a whole new way, giving her a significant advantage in her survival journey. Parallel Will is an extraordinary skill that creates another will inside Komoko's mind, which can be in charge of specific tasks. This skill essentially gives Komoko the ability to multitask at an unprecedented level. One will is in charge of controlling her spider body, while the other focuses on processing information. This new skill adds a new layer of complexity and intrigue to Komoko's character. Meanwhile, in another part of the labyrinth, hero Julius and his party are on a mission to hunt for a certain Terratech named Nightmare's Vestige. Upon finding their target, a fierce battle ensues. The Nightmare's Vestige, along with some greater Terratechs, proves to be formidable opponents. However, the Nightmare's Vestige suddenly freezes, as if in fear of something, allowing Julius and his party to claim victory. The source of the Nightmare's Vestige's fear is soon revealed. A mysterious and powerful female character appears on the scene, who is referred to as a demon lord by another character. This new character's appearance adds a thrilling twist to the plot and sets the stage for future confrontations. Back in the labyrinth, Komoko is delighted with her evolution. Her front legs have transformed into sharp, knife-like appendages, and her body has generated armor plates, enhancing her combat capabilities. She also purchases the Perseverance skill, which increases her chances of survival when her health is low. However, this skill also increases her Taboo skill, adding another layer of complexity to her character. Komoko indulges herself in a large library of skills to choose from. With the advancement of her Taboo skills, she gets excited at the possibility of becoming a stereotypical Anime Edge Lord. Her second consciousness, a result of her Parallel Will skill, allows her to converse with herself, breaking up the monologues and adding a layer of humor to her solitary existence. Meanwhile, in the human world, Shun, Fei, and Keiichi have a conversation with Ms. Oka, their former homeroom teacher who has reincarnated as an elf. She reveals that out of their classmates, 6 are at the academy, 11 have been taken into custody by the elves, 2 more have just been found, 4 have been confirmed dead, and 3 are still missing. This revelation adds a layer of mystery and intrigue to the plot as the whereabouts and fates of the missing students remain unknown. In a scene change, we go to Shun is attacked by Hugo during an excursion to the mountains. Hugo reveals his sinister plan to kill all the students and then blame it on a monster attack. However, before he can carry out his plan, Ms. Oka intervenes and defeats Hugo using an unknown skill that strips him of his abilities. This confrontation showcases the fluid animation of the series, making even a smaller sword fight very exciting. Back in the labyrinth, Kumoko is satisfied with her progress but expresses disappointment that there is no evolution for her maxed-out appraisal skill. Suddenly, she receives a message from a person called Administrator D, who has crafted a wisdom skill for her. This revelation terrifies Kumoko, as it implies that a godlike being is watching her every move. Later, we see Hugo swearing revenge against Shun and Mrs. Oka. He is seen accosted by a girl who claims to be one of the missing reincarnations. She offers to help her with Hugo's plans. We are shown the aftermath of Hugo's attempt to kill Shun. As both are princes, the incident is covered up to prevent a war between their 2 kingdoms. This event prompts Shun to reminisce about their past lives in Japan, where Hugo was egotistical but harmless, and the class loner Hiro was bullied by Fei. Back at the academy, Shun, Fei, and Keiichi confront Ms. Oka about her refusal to discuss the dead or missing reincarnations. They specifically ask about Hiro, adding a layer of mystery and intrigue to the plot. The audience is given a glimpse into the students' past lives through a flashback, providing a deeper understanding of their relationships and dynamics. Meanwhile, in the labyrinth, Kumoko's second mind has been spending time learning magical theory, allowing her to begin using actual magic. During an argument with her second self, her dual perception levels up again, granting her 3 minds instead of 2. She decides that her third mind will focus exclusively on learning magic, while she and her second mind focus on staying alive and leveling up. However, Kumoko's progress is interrupted when she is attacked by an injured fire dragon. Despite being wounded, the dragon is still stronger and faster than her. In an attempt to poison it, Kumoko crafts a magic poison bomb, but before she can shoot it into the dragon's mouth, it is blown away by a fireball. The rapid communication she carries out with her 3 minds unlocks the 4th mind. Trapped and unable to dodge, the dragon unleashes a giant fireball at her, leaving her fate uncertain. Back at the academy, Mrs. Oka informs Shun that Hiro is dead, and Hugo swears revenge against Shun and Mrs. Oka, only to be accosted by a girl who claims to be one of the missing reincarnations. She offers her help, setting the stage for future confrontations and adding a new layer to the plot. Julius, the current holder of the hero title, visits the academy to meet with his siblings Schlaine and Sue. The reunion is brief as Julius has to depart for the Empire due to a new looming threat: demons on the move. It seems like an unavoidable war between humans and demons is about to begin, and Julius is needed at the front. Meanwhile, in the Great Elro Labyrinth, Kumoko, our spider heroine, continues her battle against a mighty fire dragon. With the help of all 4 of her minds, she successfully casts Abyss magic to kill the dragon. However, her victory is short-lived as she is confronted by a mysterious man with administrative privileges who sensed the dragon's death. Unable to communicate due to a language barrier, a smartphone suddenly appears out of nowhere. The caller converses with the mysterious man, who leaves before addressing Kumoko and introducing herself as D. Realizing she has been watched, Kumoko asks what D wants, to which he answers is just entertainment, and ends the call before Kumoko could ask further. Back at the academy, Shun suddenly unlocks the hero title, which can only mean one thing: Julius has been killed. Meanwhile, in the demon realm, the demon lord holds a council with his generals and declares war on humanity. It is also noted that Kumoko's storyline takes place 15 years before that of the other classmates. This element of time is incredibly exciting and suggests a ton of new possibilities. We then see a gathering of demons, including the demon lord, planning their war against the humans. Kumoko wanders around and contemplates her recent encounter with D. He finds a route back to the upper stratum of the Great Elro Labyrinth, marking a significant step in her journey. Meanwhile, in the human world, Shun meets with the royal family to discuss his new role as the hero. It is decided that he must quit the academy to take over as the hero immediately. This decision marks a significant turning point in Shun's life and paves the way for future interesting developments. Elsewhere, at the remains of the battlefield between the humans and demons, the magician Ronant, Julia's former magic tutor, is angered over the loss of life. He ends up recounting how 15 years ago, he and a team of soldiers entered a labyrinth to investigate a monster outbreak. They discovered that the cause was a Terratech scaring away all the other monsters. A battle ensued, which left Ronan and fellow mage Baramis as the sole survivors. Having received news that a queen Teratect appeared on a battlefield, Romance suspects it might be connected to that Zoila. Back in the labyrinth, it is revealed that the Teratect was, in fact, Komoko, who uses the gathered EXP to evolve yet again. However, this also causes her taboo skill to reach the max level and she passes out. This leaves us wondering about Komoko's fate. Shun feels uneasy about replacing Julius as the hero. However, Faye, his dragon companion, convinces him to form a pact with her, enabling him to summon her if he is in danger. This decision leads to an unexpected event. Faye evolves and reverts into an egg while the process is underway. This surprising transformation shatters expectations of what is to happen and leaves us wondering about Faye's future form. Meanwhile, Shun meets with Hyrance, the only survivor of Julius' party. Hyrance explains that they were all killed by a mysterious girl in white, with him only surviving because Julius gave him his revival item. This revelation is a total downer and it can be felt in the environment of the scene. Shun, instead of blaming Hyrance, takes him as a new teammate, showcasing his maturity and understanding. Back in the labyrinth, due to Taboo reaching level 10, Komoko starts getting visions that the world is heading toward an apocalypse, but struggles to make sense of it all. Concluding she needs to get stronger and save the world, Komoko decides to challenge Araba, the Earth Dragon, and begins relentlessly leveling up by clearing out monsters that might get in the way. We then see Komoko finishing her preparations just as Araba arrives to confront her. We finally get the long-awaited showdown between Komoko and Araba, the mighty Earth Dragon. The two monsters find themselves evenly matched, but Komoko manages to turn the tide in her favor by trapping Araba in a web she prepared beforehand. However, Araba is not easily defeated. The dragon uses all its saved-up skill points to acquire abilities that Komoko is weak against. This turn of events puts Komoko in a corner, and she briefly considers giving up. But showing her indomitable spirit, she resolves to fight to the end. Just as Araba is about to finish her off, the Earth Dragon suddenly collapses. It is then revealed that Komoko knew she could not win head-on, so she instead used a skill she acquired beforehand to drain Araba's stamina until it succumbed to exhaustion. This clever strategy leads to her victory, showcasing her resourcefulness and determination. However, the victory leaves Komoko feeling hollow. Araba stops resisting, satisfied with their battle, which angers Komoko. She kills the dragon, but the victory feels empty. In the present, the Demon Lord reminisces about the time she fought an Earth Dragon, while Shun vows to avenge Julius, unaware that Hugo is plotting against him. Back in the past, Komoko finally finds a way out of the labyrinth by following a tracking spell she placed on the humans from earlier. Komoko finally enters the outside world after defeating some humans guarding the labyrinth's exit. This marks a significant milestone in Komoko's journey and a sign of new adventures. Wanting some way to communicate with humans, Komoko makes her new goal to evolve into an Araction, a half-human/half-spider monster. However, she suddenly receives a telepathic message from her mother ordering her to return to the labyrinth, which she defiantly ignores. This act of rebellion shows us Komoko's determination and independence and how far she has come in her story. In the present, Shun and his family meet the elven chief Pokemas, who reveals that negotiations with the demons have stopped ever since the current Demon Lord's ascension. He also warns Shun not to trust the church. Meanwhile, at the academy, Katia and Sue worry about Shun when they are kidnapped by Hugo. Back in the labyrinth, Komoko's mother is angered by her disobedience and sends an army of spider monsters to bring her back. However, Komoko defeats most of them with ease before teleporting the remaining ones to the middle stratum, killing them with heat. Her mother then once again tries to control her, prompting her to send her parallel minds through their psychic link and attack her mind. And then we see a shocking revelation. Hugo is working with Silas. This alliance promises more exciting developments in the story to come. Komoko comes across a carriage being attacked by bandits. She leaps into action, showing power and heroism as she comes to their aid. However, after defeating the attackers, he notices one of the occupants, a vampire baby named Sophia, is a fellow reincarnation. Jealous of how easy Sophia has it, Komoko departs but then notices a group of elves planning to kidnap the baby. So she disposes of them as well through her unwavering determination. In the present, a shocking event occurs. Sue suddenly kills her father, the king, and frames Shun. Silas and Hugo then arrest him and explain that the king was going to make Shun his successor to keep him off the battlefield, so they cooperated to launch this coup d'etat. However, Shun manages to escape with help from Ms. Oka and Hyrance, his maid Anna, and brother Leston. While recuperating, however, they are attacked by a group led by Hugo's reincarnation ally, who's revealed to be Sophia and Katia, who has been brainwashed. While they are able to free Katia, Sophia and her assailants overwhelm them until Faye, who has evolved into a huge light dragon, arrives and they all escape on her back. In that we see Sophia telepathically informing the Demon Lord that she completed her mission, leaving the audience at the edge of their seats, wanting to know more. Komoko's parallel minds gnaw away at her mother's mind. However, they find themselves trapped as her mother suddenly emerges from the labyrinth to pursue Komoko herself. This unexpected turn of events sets the stage for a high-stakes chase. Finding herself completely outmatched, Kumoko teleports back to her nest in the labyrinth. However, she is ambushed by more Pterotex, the monstrous spider creatures of the labyrinth. Kumoko tries to flee but is stopped by a puppet Pterotex, a small spider monster that operates a human-sized mannequin. Driven into a corner, Kumoko finally turns the tide by killing one of the Pterotex and leveling up, which fully heals her. She then teleports herself and the remaining Pterotex to the lava floor, where they die from the heat. Afterward, having reached her level cap, Kumoko evolves yet again. In the present, Mizoka informs Shun and the others that Hugo is planning to attack the elf village. They decide to head there to stop him, except for Leston, who opts to stay behind to deal with the kingdom's current situation. However, this journey will take them through the very same labyrinth that once housed Kumoko. Kumoko discovers that she now possesses the immortality skill following her latest evolution. Suddenly, she is contacted by D, the mysterious entity who has been watching her. D congratulates Kumoko for being the first to reach this species and reveals the shocking truth behind their reincarnation. The explosion that killed everyone was actually an attempt on D's life by a previous hero and demon king, revealing that D is one of the classmates. In the present, Shum's party has reached the labyrinth, where they recruit a guide named Basgath to lead them through it. Faye reveals she can now assume a human form. Because Hugo's Imperial army is guarding the entrance, the guide sneaks them in through an undersea entrance despite some trouble with the water dragon. Back in the labyrinth, Kumoko has reached the sea where, after having her own water dragon encounter, she gets an idea. Challenging the puppet Pterotex again, she kills it by flooding the cave with water before retreating back outside. However, just then, she is suddenly ambushed by the demon lord, the origin Pterotex Ariel, who immediately blasts her body to pieces. In a scene change, we see the demon realm, where Ariel, the demon lord, is preparing to launch an attack on the elf village. We know this ominous occurrence will lead to an interesting high-stakes confrontation. Meanwhile, Shun's party is camping out while traversing the labyrinth. Unable to sleep, Shun is told by Basgath about his encounter with the infamous nightmare of the labyrinth, whom we know as Kumoko. Finding themselves at a crossroads with time being of the essence, the group opts to follow a short but dangerous route through the nightmare's former home. This decision leads to them being attacked by an earth dragon. However, they manage to defeat the beast in a thrilling display of teamwork and power. Just when they think they're safe, they are then confronted by a swarm of Nightmare's vestiges, spider-type monsters said to be a Nightmare's offspring. In a surprising turn of events, the creatures let them pass upon realizing that Shun and his companions are reincarnations. The group finally exits the labyrinth by flying through an opening on the back of Fi's dragon form. In the past, it is revealed that Kumoko survived through her immortality skill. However, she ponders that she must tread carefully as there exists magic that can kill even immortals. Elsewhere, Ariel furiously realizes that Kumoko is alive when one of her parallel minds uses her link with Mother to attack her mind. Kumoko finds herself near Sophia's hometown, which is once again under the crosshairs of the elves. In the present, Shun's party is traversing through that same town. While there, they uncover the deep-seated animosity between the world's two dominant religions, the Word of God Church and the Goddess religion. Mizoka drops a bombshell revelation. Hugo has likely brainwashed the heads of the church. This revelation spurs Shun to resolve that they must defeat Hugo. Back in the past, Kumoko leaps into action, killing the elves trying to abduct Sophia along with anyone suspicious. This draws the attention of Potamus, who fears Ariel and the church might have realized his intentions to gather the reincarnations. The church's pontiff, Dustin, also takes notice but chooses to ignore it as he prepares for war against the goddess religion. The townspeople eventually become aware of Kumoko as well and believe she is a divine beast sent by the goddess. In a surprising turn of events, a mother brings her sick child to Kumoko and begs her to heal him, which she reluctantly does. However, the next day, Kumoko finds that word has spread and the entire town has now lined up to be healed by her. Then we see Shun's group finally arriving at Elf Village, where they are met with a shocking sight. Potamus, who they believed had been killed in Hugo's coup, is alive and well. After a night's rest, Mizoka leads Shun, Fi, and Katya to the other reincarnations held at the Elf Village. The reunion is joyous and emotional, but it quickly takes a dark turn. The others reveal that they were, in fact, kidnapped by the elves, causing Shun and his companions to grow suspicious. In the past, Sophia's parents receive a demand from the neighboring country to hand over Kumoko, which they cannot possibly do. Potamus then arrives, but he ultimately opts to not make a move on Sophia, while Kumoko is nearby. Sensing her mother is weakened enough, Kumoko teleports to her to finally kill her, only to end up falling into a trap and nearly being killed. However, her parallel minds then return to her, transferring all the stats they stole from her mother onto her and allowing her to easily kill her before retreating. Afterward, Ariel finds Mother's corpse and swears vengeance before being confronted by an earth dragon who claims it is natural for the elderly to make way for their children, only for her to attack it out of spite. An envoy from a neighboring kingdom appears before Kumoko and declares her their property. However, Kumoko finds them annoying and dismisses them, walking away without a second thought. But the peace doesn't last long. She is soon confronted by the same administrator she met in the labyrinth, who introduces himself as Gulita Studies. He requests her to stop attacking Ariel and interacting with humans. However, Kumoko refuses, arguing that she must interfere to prevent the apocalypse. Unfortunately, after Guli leaves, Kumoko is attacked by the envoy's guards. In self-defense, she kills them. However, using the envoy's death as a casus belli, the neighboring country declares war. Realizing the consequences of her actions, Kumoko decides to face their army herself. In the present, Mizoka is plagued with doubts, wondering if she has made the right choices. It is revealed that she has a unique skill called Student Roster that tells her the reincarnation's place of birth, health, and how they would die. This prompted her to make a deal with Potamus to effectively imprison them in the elf village for their own safety. Meanwhile, Ariel's forces have secretly mixed themselves in with Hugo's army and are using them as cover as they march toward the elf village. As the upcoming battle looms, Shun's party is bolstered by the arrival of two more of their former classmates, Kunihiko and Asaka. The air is thick with anticipation and uncertainty. In the midst of this, Mizoka unveils the elves' theory about their reincarnation. According to her, the RPG system that governs this world is controlled by beings known as administrators. These entities feed off the energy of people's skills, and they summon the classmates to develop powerful skills. She also reveals a chilling fact. Hugo is likely being manipulated by these administrators, while Sophie serves them willingly. This revelation sends a shockwave through the group, leaving them to wonder about the fate of the two reincarnations who are still missing. Suddenly, the tranquility of the elf village is shattered. The entrance to the village is attacked by one of the missing classmates, Seijin, who has become a church assassin. After destroying the entrance and fleeing, effectively locking everyone inside, the barrier surrounding the village is obliterated, paving the way for Hugo's forces to launch their attack. Mizoka leads the elves' counterattack. Armed with the knowledge from her skill that Hugo is destined to die here, she faces him, determined to end his reign of terror. However, while she manages to take out a brainwashed Yuri, Hugo, with Sophia's aid, overpowers her. Just as he is about to deliver the final blow, Shun and his party make a timely arrival, saving Mizoka and setting the stage for a thrilling showdown. In the past, Kumoko plunges into the battle against the neighboring country, wreaking havoc and causing massive casualties among the enemy ranks. However, the battlefield is suddenly graced by the ominous presence of Ariel. A shocking revelation unfolds. After killing the dragon, Ariel's soul merged with Kumoko's parallel mind that had previously jumped over to her. This fusion has caused Ariel to adopt some of Kumoko's personality traits. Despite this, Ariel's thirst for revenge remains unquenched. She enlists the help of Gulita Studies, who teleports her to Kumoko's location, setting the stage for an epic showdown. As they clash, Ariel employs a series of skills that prevent Kumoko from using magic or teleporting. Kumoko is forced to rely on healing herself by leveling up using the EXP gathered from collateral damage, a desperate strategy to stay alive. The battle reaches a fever pitch, only to be interrupted by the sudden arrival of a young Julius. Ariel halts her attack, fearing the secret effect of the hero, which ensures their victory against the Demon Lord. However, Ariel manages to distract Julius before using Abyss Magic, the lethal force that can kill even immortals, to vaporize Kumoko. In the present, a tense standoff ensues. Despite his allies' eagerness to help, Shun insists on facing Hugo alone. The stage is set for a showdown that promises to be nothing short of explosive. In the heat of the raging battle at the elf village, Potamus commands the deployment of the formidable Gloria units. Concurrently, Shun, with his superior skills, easily overpowers Hugo. However, the victory is short-lived as Sophia reveals her true colors. She discloses her alliance with the demons, leaving Hugo seething with rage as he realizes he was merely a pawn in their grand scheme. Despite the overwhelming odds, Shun and his party valiantly stand their ground against Sophia. They are, however, no match for her power and are swiftly overpowered. Amidst the chaos, Faye attempts to surrender on behalf of the entire group, but Shun, fueled by the spirit of Julius, adamantly refuses to back down. Their situation takes a drastic turn when they are ambushed by unexpected reinforcements. Leading the charge is none other than Wrath, the commander of the 8th Demon Army and Shun's former friend from their past lives. The tide of the battle shifts once again when the elves launch a counteroffensive. The Gloria units, revealed to be powerful mechanical tank drones, are unleashed, decimating the demon forces and leaving only Sophia and Wrath standing. Elsewhere, Ariel, accompanied by the woman responsible for Julius's death, makes her way toward the village. However, before they can proceed, Ariel decides to check on Sophia and Wrath. In the heart-stopping finale of Kumo Dezu ga Nani Ka, the battlefield is a whirlwind of chaos and desperation. Shun, our steadfast hero, finds himself outmatched by the formidable duo of Sophia and Wrath. In a tragic turn of events, Anna takes a fatal hit meant for him. Driven by desperation and the will to save her, Shun taps into the forbidden power of the Mercy skill. bringing her back from the brink of death. But this act of defiance against the natural order comes with a heavy price. His taboo skill skyrockets to level 10, and he is bombarded with the harsh truths of the world. In the midst of this chaos, Hugo, fueled by a burning desire for revenge, lunges at Sophia, but his attack is thwarted by a mysterious woman in white, who is none other than their former classmate, Hiro Wakaba, the Kumoko spider herself. The narrative then takes us back in time, revealing Hiro's miraculous survival against Ariel's attack. She had cunningly transferred her consciousness into an egg she had laid, hatching as a newborn and evolving into an Arakian using the EXP she had gathered from the battlefield. Meanwhile, the nefarious Potamus wreak havoc on Sophia's home, murdering her parents and gravely injuring Merizofis, the family butler. Left with no choice, Sophia turns him into a vampire to save his life. Just when all hope seems lost, Hiro arrives, engaging Potamus in a fierce battle. Despite her valiant efforts, she's cornered until Ariel makes a timely appearance, defeating Potamus and revealing him to be a mere mechanical copy. In the wake of this tumultuous battle, Ariel proposes a truce. Hiro, Sophia, and Merizofis agree, deciding to follow her back to the demon territory. As the dust settles in the present, Hiro and her party set their sights on their next target, Potamus.